p.m. Elena, thank you so much for the amazing work you have done this year. And it is the last one of many, the last one of 400 hours of online discussions. Welcome to our epic online technology meeting for the food and beverage. Feeling hungry? Because this holiday season always stimulates our appetite for delicious food and beverages. So on Monday, December 20th at 3 p.m., we are organizing our traditional virtual Christmas dinner for both end users and photonic companies. For this special evening, we have partnered with two key end user associations in the food and beverage sector, KM0 and the Farm Tech Society. The epic online meeting becomes a Christmas celebration. Please join us and actively participate. Do you know who else is going to be there? Have you heard about the company Dacsa, one of the main companies in Europe in the rice and cereal sector? Most of us know them as producers of the worldwide famous Bomba rice. Accurate process monitoring is key to their success. Let's help them be even more successful. And to go with our rice, we'll carve some quality meat. The Spanish company Embutidos Martinez has brought with them several modern challenges in which photonics could be the solution. For instance, how can you disinfect the meat without damaging it during production? And next to our tender meat, we'll need a beverage to quench our thirst. Let's hear from the market leader Heuft, who have solved fast and efficient beverage bottling inspection. Of course, a photonics-based inspection turns out to be the key. And special guests at our Grand Christmas Season 5 finale will include Philips Domestic Appliances and the Italian R&D Center Tecnoalimenti. Epic bio expert Dr. Elena Beletkaia is organizing the catering, and I will join her as your friendly waiter. Elena's hard work and talent deserves the full credit for bringing Epic closer to the end users in the biotech sector. Bravo, Elena. So please help us make this Monday, December 20th, one of the most tasteful events in this year's calendar. Dinner and drinks will be served exactly at 3 p.m. No expense will be spared, just give us some of your time. Buen provecho. Thank you very much, everyone, for paying attention to Epic over the entire season. The entire season has been fantastic, and we are here to find business for the photonic companies, especially those in the process monitoring business, all the companies doing hyperspectral imaging, S-weir detectors, M-weir detectors, systems to detect any kind of bacteria or any kind of change in refractive index into what we want to monitor. We want to find connection to the end user. So you want to know the technology of NIR from Peter Trotrop on the mid-infrared detectors. He's here to tell us. We want to match it to the process monitoring of Heuft, the process monitoring of Dacsa, and the process monitoring of Grupo Martinez and Embutidos Martinez. That's going to be our task. Next exciting 2 hours. My name is Jose Pozo, and I'm here with Francesca Moglia and Dr. Elena Beletkaia, who is our biotech expert. Great job, Elena, bringing these end users today. We kept growing this season. We managed to reach a milestone, which is 750 members, but even a more important milestone, we managed to get a lot of support from all of you. We actually, I don't think we got more than 3 or 4 cancellations over the entire year. Our members are extremely engaged and extremely happy, and that's what makes us happy. Many people tell us, what gives us energies? You, the Epic members, give us energies. We have 15 people full-time. Many of you know them. We dedicate our life to the photonic industry because we love it. This is our life. Organize events, we provide access to the network, help you raise capital. We had the biggest website to find a job in photonics, and we help you, giving you market reports because you're a member and you deserve them. We had to say that this is the last chapter of season 5, Photonics for the food and beverage. And for all of you who are curious, next season we have selected already hot topics, and biotech again will be one of our hottest line of business, with UV disinfection in January, with agri-photonics in March, with medical fiber sensing in April, and in June with the business of plastic sorting and recycling. This is going to happen in the next season. We are already looking for people to attend. So please go to the website epicdacsa.com and register online. All registrations are already open. And as I said during the video, KM0 and Farmtech Society are supporting us today. So thank you very much for connecting us to the end users. We promise we will treat them the way that we deserve. We promise we will find innovation for them to keep their leading positions. Thank you, KM0 and Farmtech Society. And also thank you very much for the companies without which this meeting will be possible. And that's our sponsors today, coming all the way from the Netherlands. Avantes provide spectroscopy solutions in the visible range, helping you with providing the most compact line for spectrometering in light monitoring. Photonics all the way from Berlin, they provide chalcogenide fiber for the process monitoring and biotech technologies. Anytime you need sensing, you need fiber to conduce the light. Anytime you can do fiber in the mid-infrared, you can use the fiber of Photonics. All the way from Jena, we have asphericon. They provide aspheric and freeform optics with the highest specs in metrology solutions, and also Acktar all the way from the UK. They provide the black coatings for the maximum, from Israel. They provide the maximum absorption in the black coatings whenever you need to absorb the light. You need the coatings of Acktar, and last but not least, our leading company in optics manufacturing, Edmund Optics, the leading provider of components and assemblies from the infrared to mid-infrared, providing imaging lenses for many practical technologies, but in particular, great solutions for the food and beverage sector. I would like to everyone give the floor to a person that means a lot to EPIC and a lot to everyone in the EPIC network, and that's our biotech expert, Dr. Elena Beletkaia. Elena, thank you so much for the amazing contribution to EPIC. What do we expect in the next 2 hours?
Thank you very much, Jose. Thank you for your kind words. Well, we expect a lot of tasty discussions in these coming 2 hours. We will start from introduction of our new partners, KM0, with whom we work together, and hopefully there are many years of cooperation. We will also hear presentation from Dacsa and from Grupo Martinez. So we will go for ingredients, and then we will be talking about how mass production is organized. Then we will go into discussion of more individual in home cooking, and then we will move also to the beverages and beverage bottling. So that discussion will, of course, include a lot of other companies, those who hopefully can provide already here and now, or maybe develop in the future solutions to those challenges existing or emerging in food and beverage industry. So we have our end users with their challenges, but we have system integrators as well as developers of cameras, photonic components, integrated photonics, optics coatings, so all of these elements that come together into different monitoring systems with the spectrometer sensors and R&D sensors. There are so many things that need to be put together. So without further ado, let's just get to it.
Thank you very much, Elena. This slide only corresponds to the companies who registered for this meeting. So you're an EPIC member and you miss your logo on this slide only means that you forgot to register. Don't let it happen again. And for those of you in YouTube, welcome. This meeting is also live streamed in YouTube. So you want to get in touch with any of the participants today, all you have to do is send me an email, jose.pozo@epic-aso.com, and I will introduce you to any of the participants today. But if you have a question during the meeting, please write it in the chat. And this, of course, also valid for the people here with me in the Zoom room. Beautiful people here in the Zoom room. If you have any comments or questions, write in the chat. But most important, use the chat as much as possible to get with each other. If after the meeting you didn't manage to talk to, for example, Tatiana from Thorlabs, then you contact me and I will introduce you. You have a nice discussion with her. Let's start the meeting. As Serena very well said, today we have the lack of bringing some of the key end users. And for doing that, we partner with key associations and with innovation hubs. And all the key innovation hubs in the food and beverage industry is KM0. And the director of KM0 helped us a lot. So we want to welcome her and give her the floor. Beatriz, Jacoste, thank you very much for being with us this afternoon. Tell us about you, and most important, tell us how we can help you. The floor is yours.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for the introduction, Jose and Elena, and for such a good energy. We are super excited to launch this collaboration with EPIC, and actually you will hear during my presentation that we were already in contact and we had invested in one of your members. So we already knew a bit about photonics, but what we are doing at KM0 is trying to understand all of the challenges the food industry is facing across the whole value chain of food. So some of the solutions can be found.
Yeah. Can we also have it accompanied with your presentation right away? Let's just get to it.
Sure. Here you can see it.
Yes.
Yeah, so a food industry that will be presenting later on, Martinez, founded KM0 4 years ago with the objective of understanding the future challenges and solutions for the food industry. And they built up a very interdisciplinary team where we can find from engineers to financial advisors, to designers, to trend experts, and so on, to really understand from the different perspectives what is needed to really be prepared for the future. So in practical terms, we work in 3 sectors. We work with startups. So this is why we are so interested in being here with you, because we want to do open innovation, which means we want to connect the industry with the solutions, not only in photonics, as I mentioned before, but also, and we also generate a lot of content. For example, this week we published our book about the future of food, and we are working closely with companies to assist them in how they need to anticipate for the future of food. So these are some of the sectors and focus areas of our work. Many of them will be relevant to you. So for example, all the development of new proteins, revaluing food waste, understanding how we implement food technologies to improve efficiency and food safety, and so on. As I mentioned, we have already worked with one of the members of EPIC. You can see it on the left hand side, which is Lumencia. So they mainly work to guarantee food safety and detect pathogens and allergens in the food value chain. And we have already done some pilot plans and so on. So this technology is very relevant to us, specifically because it can be applied to different challenges, not only guaranteeing food quality. These are some of the other startups we have invested in. They go from end products such as biocompostable coffee to technologies such as blockchain applied to the food industry, and even insect farms for animal feed. So very different portfolio, and how we help these startups is, first of all, connecting them with the relevant industries in order for them to get the capital they need, and also for them to be able to implement their solutions directly in the industry. So how do we do this? So we have built a network of more than 50 international ambassadors, amongst them some people behind the hamburger of Beyond Meat, for example, some people working as leaders in Danone, Unilever, and huge companies, but also many entrepreneurs and pioneers that are leading those innovations. So we have a lot of discussions with them to understand what are the real challenges and how can we accelerate the transformation needed in the food sector. And we have also launched a summit which we organize every year to really share with the people where the future is taking us, and mainly what are the signals of the future, so the good practices that we really need to support and accelerate in order to curb the challenges you might know of related to food safety, hunger, obesity, sustainability, etc. Many of our efforts are related nowadays to the sustainable transition of the food industry. So you can find more information about the summit over here, and mainly because you will find many interesting contents that will hopefully inspire you to incorporate into your businesses. And as I said, we also create this annual report in which we collect all of those best practices. So Lumencia was part of this report in the past. And just as EPIC, we also organize periodical meetings on topics such as food waste, biodiversity, proteins, and so on. So very relevant topics with leaders. And we also support daily the startups that need the market access. So when a startup arrives to us, we support them not only with capital, but also helping them escalate their product and industrializing it, and mainly connecting it to the relevant companies that can really make their solutions much more impactful. So we really hope today to have some impactful discussions with you, and I'm also very curious to hear about the challenges that these food companies that we brought to the table have, and hear if there are some members that have potential solutions for those. So that's all from my side, and now I leave the floor to you for questions.
Thank you very much, Beatriz. Muchísimas gracias. Your work here bringing Dacsa and Embutidos Martinez, the food companies, is so priceless to us, so we are eternally thankful. But when you tell us you also invest in photonic companies, then we also become really interested. Could you tell us a bit about what are the rules and what is the typical ticket size that you provide?
Mm-hmm. That's a common question, and the thing is that the market of food tech startups in Spain is not that mature, so we don't have to be very strict in terms of our investment thesis. So the size of the investment really varies, and we have projects in very different phases. So from early stage to Series A, so it doesn't follow a standard, but they do have to bring in solutions related to sustainability, digitalization, or well-being. So if the solution is related and helps in one of those three areas, we are really open to hearing about the topic, and maybe we don't directly invest in the startup, but we have many funds, many food tech funds that are huge that can invest in later rounds.
Because Beatriz, imagine that they have a company in Hanover, for saying one city, called Heuft Solutions, that they provide hyperspectral imaging cameras for the process monitoring in the food and beverage, but also in the textile and the recycling. Actually, I think I have somebody from Heuft in the room. I believe I do. Do I? Yes, Tobias Kreklov is in the room here from Heuft Solutions. You provide hyperspectral imaging cameras for what?
Yeah, so mainly we use our cameras, what we say is for the environmental industry. So that means agriculture, forestry, but also, yeah, food industry, recycling, geology. So those are all the industries we are in. What the core of our products is that we want to rethink how to use such hyperspectral imaging cameras. So you want to really implement the workflow from the start to the beginning, so that the cameras itself are very user-friendly in the end and can be used by anybody, and especially with the experts from that industry in specific.
So Beatriz, I have this company here. What is the next step? How do they get engaged with you? How do they benefit from KM0?
So we have a first step, which would be receiving their deck and learning more about their needs. So we would also have a call with our financial advisor and the person in touch with the entrepreneurs. So that would be the first step. Then we would evaluate if it's a project for us, if we can directly invest, or if we can redirect them to one of the funds we work with. We work, for example, with Quadia, which is a fund in Switzerland, Big Idea Ventures, which is internationally, Blue Horizon Ventures, Acktar, and so on. So many international funds that can also help in a specific phase. Or if we see a perfect match with a company in our sector, we can also introduce them.
Beatriz, it was so great meeting you, because you bring us end users and you bring us capital to our members. This is truly great. Today you brought us key end users in the sector. I would like to thank you once again. While I bring the floor our first keynote speaker today, we are talking to a company that is key in the market for the production of cereals and the production of rice. We are talking to Dacsa Group, and Sunil Mahtani is the International Manager for Business Development at Dacsa. He's looking for new cooperations, new opportunities to bring innovation to one of the key markets in the food industry. Thank you very much, Sunil, for being with us. The floor, and all my camera manufacturers, system integrators, integrators, photonic component developers want to do business with you. So use it
Fantastic. Will do. Thanks so much, Jose, for the introduction. Really excited to be here today. If you don't mind, I'll immediately just share my screen. Obviously, I also wanted to appreciate the opportunity of being here. So thank you, Bea, for always thinking of Dacsa and counting us in. Well, just for all of those who don't know, Dacsa, we're basically an industrial group dedicated to food ingredients development, the development of food ingredients. We're the leading company in Europe, especially when it comes to the dry milling and all of its sectors, so breakfast cereals, snacks, and brewery, and a distinguished rice producer with well-known rice brands both in Spain and Portugal. We're an international company, so even though we are a family, Spanish family-owned company, we work at a global level. And as Jose was introducing, yes, our core business is certainly, I'll go back to the mission, it's certainly maize and rice. But today, honestly speaking, I wanted to discuss more about our third business unit, which is food solutions. So obviously maize, rice, the company's been involved in these two sectors for over 50 years now. So from a technological perspective, we're also quite advanced. That doesn't mean that there isn't space for improvement. There always is. We're a very innovative company. And also, I just wanted to apologize because unfortunately, our process and technology manager was wanting to be part of this session today too. But unfortunately, he had other meetings and hasn't been able to make it, so apologies on his end. And he's the one who's leading all of the innovation from a tech perspective in our food solutions business area. So as I was discussing, I'm extremely thrilled to be here today because I truly believe that Photonics can solve many of the tech challenges we're currently facing. I just quickly wanted to share our values. Not only are we a very committed company with all we do, but we're very focused on our customers. We're efficient and safety are some of our values. I believe Photonics can do a great deal in bringing value to many of the values we run at our company. And as I said, out of the three business units, I would like to focus mainly on Molendum, which is the company we have based in Zamora. Here, our main activities are extrusion and special milling. It is a younger company, it is a younger division, which is why probably this is the one we need to support a lot more from a tech perspective. Nevertheless, it is also probably the fastest growing business line we currently have in the company. Here is where we actually concentrate practically all of the innovation that is taking place currently at Dacsa Group. So discussing a little more into detail our food solutions business area here, we develop high quality, innovative and healthy products. This is one of our main claims that add value to people's lives and do so in an efficient, sustainable and price competitive way. So to be able to continue being efficient, sustainable and extremely competitive price-wise, we need to keep bringing new technologies that can solve lots of things. Just to give you a bit of context, the kind of ingredients we actually develop or manufacture at our premises in Zamora are native flours, mostly focused on pulses and ancestral grains. This is one of the greatest visions our CEO had 10 years back, where she understood that not only did we need cereals for a rich diet, but these had to be combined with pulses. And that's why we also started extruding pulses and manufacturing flours out of these. Then obviously we have the thermal treated flours, which bring in different I'd say functionalities to end products, the predestined binders for batters and coatings, breadcrumbs, crunch and expanded, and our latest new innovation, which are the textured vegetable proteins, all of the whole plant-based movement. Thanks to our knowledge and know-how in extrusion, we've also been able to tap this amazing, extremely exciting market. And we not only are focused on B2B solutions, but we're also focused on developing our own end products. Okay, and the reason why I'm mentioning this is because we need all of the assistance today to understand that we actually take control over the entire supply chain. Not only do we manufacture the ingredients, which we then sell to third parties, but we ourselves sometimes have the whole rest of the production line in place to be able to manufacture our own end products and directly reach to the shelves of many of the retailers in the market. When it comes to the plant-based solutions, these are some of the different formats we work with. When it comes to the wet pea-based texture vegetable proteins, again, these are all B2B formats. As you see, this is an extremely innovative product where we are actually being able to mimic the texture of a meat-like products. But then again, we also have the dry texture protein, gluten-free, pre-dust, breadcrumbs, and so on. And then, as we said, we are developing end products also as part of our solutions with different chicken-style strips, beef-flavored strips, nuggets, croquettes, and any other kind of format you may imagine, burgers, sausages, and many more that are coming our way very soon and can definitely personalize aromas and flavors based on what our end consumers are willing to try. These are some of the products we've actually developed, as we were discussing before: meatballs, nuggets, sausages, some of the end applications that we've actually been able to not discover, but manufacture through the chefs and culinary centers we work with. But back to Photonics, I just wanted everybody here to get an idea of all what we are actually doing and how we're using our technology, but how do we feel that Photonics could help us? So there are currently two things that we've actually been discussing internally, which would be, one, controlling the pellet expansion during the extrusion process. So as you know, as I mentioned, one of the main industries we actually cater to is the snack industry. So obviously, how to control our pellets is extremely critical to us when it comes to like the size and granulometry of these, and being able to measure that pretty much in real time without having to do separate tests after the extrusion process, because this allows us to obviously be a lot more efficient during the production process. And the second one would be involving already our latest innovation. And here, what we need to do is control the texture and hardness of our humid textured protein or wet textured protein. The reason why is, again, there is a lot more knowledge on meat or even maybe other plant-based ingredients such as soy or wheat than there is maybe regarding the pea protein. So in this case, we need to control the texture and the hardness of our output when we're manufacturing, just to ensure that the product we're delivering to our customers is always homogeneous and will always respond the same way. This is something critical to then also improve our sales and increase our efficiency as a company. So I'm absolutely convinced the companies present today will be able to help us with these. And again, as I said, the idea was giving some context, because I'm sure there may be tons of other challenges I haven't addressed at this point, but I'm sure Photonics could help us with. Thank you very much, and open to any question you may have.
Thank you, Sunil. Thank you so much. Let's not turn your screen just yet. Let's get back to that challenge slide you have, so that we can focus on it a little bit more. I think Jose already did ask for extra attention from those who are developing and manufacturing different cameras, and I think those developing spectrometers should join this conversation now as well. We have a couple of camera manufacturers in the room, so I would be very curious to hear some comments from them, for instance, from Mark from Xenix or from Benjamin from Photonics. But before moving to them and pulling them into this discussion, I would like to ask from you a little more specifications. So we are talking about pellet expansion or hardness and tissue measurement. So how would these measurements actually need to be made? So is it inline monitoring, so during the production, or you can take a sample out and test it in the lab? So what would be actually the testing environments and requirements?
Yeah, so I think that inline measuring would be ideal for us because it would allow us to be a lot more agile when actually setting the system up to be able to practically on the go correct any issues we may face when it comes to any variables that are not correct, regardless of whether it is we're not expanding the pellets the way we expect, or whether the texture or hardness of the textured protein is not the right one we wanted. Again, we do know or understand that it's a lot easier to actually take samples without stopping the production process and then testing them individually or separately at a lab. But if we could get it done in line, this would be ideal for us.
And one more specific question to ask you here. So you're talking about pellet expansion. Is it water-based expansion? So could it be water content measurement also as a parameter actually linked to it?
It's more than water. It's actually the expansion that is produced when, because of the whole pressure there is during the whole production system, when it reaches to the atmospheric pressure, it automatically expands. So it doesn't have to do so much with the water actually, as it has to do, I guess, with pressure. But again, as I said, I'm not the expert in this field. So maybe for the more technical questions, I think we'd have to discuss this with Carlos, our technology manager.
Sure.
I'm sure he'll be able to give a clear insight on what our needs are in that sense.
Before we will be going into those discussions, or they will be going into those discussions, I do want to hear a little bit. I already announced that. So can we maybe have some comments from our camera manufacturers? For instance, Mark from Xenix. Mark, can you tell us a few words about Xenix itself, and do you think that this is a challenge that you could be up for?
Yeah, hello. Thank you very much. Yes, at Xenix, we are a Belgian company specialized in shortwave infrared cameras, line scan camera or 2D arrays camera. And we have some products that are definitely used in the food and beverage process already. So let's say the different use of these cameras are either to detect the foreign object or contaminant, excuse me. Sorry, I didn't switch off myself. So either to detect a foreign object, stone or whatever side grains, either to really measure the let's say the content in terms of chemical content of the food, to be able to make the difference between the fat and the protein and the bones and this kind of thing, to make a grading of the product. And all this is based on shortwave. So that's our specialty. So yes, probably we could have some product that could help you in your process.
Great.
Fantastic.
Very pleased to discuss with you about that.
Very good.
Sure.
So here we go. The first one done. Let's go to the next one. So we hope to create as many connections today as possible. And we have a very nice comment from Santiago from Lumencia. Santiago, would you like to bring it up to the discussion?
Okay, I think I was. Thank you for your presentation, and I think it's a very nice challenge. So maybe it also could be the integrated photonics could help on that. But maybe we can we should be more precise on the specification as you have told before.
Before you take it all into follow up and hide it from everybody else, tell us a bit more about Lumencia. We already heard quite a few times the name today through the meeting. We mentioned it, Bea was talking about it a few times. So can you tell us a few more words about Lumencia and what you do?
Yes, let me share my screen only for one slide.
Sure.
Okay, what we do is biosensing using integrated photonics. And so this is our...
You are not sharing your screen yet.
Sorry.
There is yet one more button to press usually. Okay.
Okay, so it's quite easy. We are our integrated photonic-based company and a spin-off from DIS Photonics, and this is the actual state of our technology, that we make a biosensing for allergen and pathogen detection on food matrices. And here you are, our microfluidics cartridge that integrates the PIC, and then our autonomous sensing platform that makes all the processing of making all the fluids going through the sensors, and also the integration of integrates the laser source and makes all the integration, all the signal processing and everything, and is integrated inside the company manufacturing system. So at this moment, we can cope with most of the allergens, and we are starting the certification process with AOSC, the international standard for gluten, milk, and soya detection. And we are about to launch next year our first microbiology control products for E. coli 0157, Salmonella, and Listeria. So this is what we are doing by now. We have some other activities in health, but for food and beverage industry, we are now starting the rolling out of our system into the industry with first of all with local companies here in Valencia, as I've told, mostly for allergen, and next year for pathogen control.
Okay, that sounds great. So I hope that would be yet another useful connection for you, Sunil.
Indeed, because at the end of the day, the main reason why we use pea instead of, for example, soy or wheat is because we want to keep it allergen-free. We don't want our end consumers to have to turn the product around and read the labels to see whether there are any allergens or not. It should be something that they buy without having to think too hard on this. So absolutely, I think discussing with Santiago further is definitely needed, just to ensure that, because sometimes it's just the raw materials we deal with, the ones who could potentially drag some allergens, shouldn't, but you never know. So obviously double checking is always a way of ensuring safety towards the end consumer, especially with something as critical as allergens.
Yes, in fact, I think we are only about 50 kilometers away one from each other, so we can meet quite easily.
Yeah, that should be easy to connect and to follow up for two of you. We have more comments here in the room. Slava from Art Photonics. Slava, share with us.
Just very shortly, it was a question from Sunil if inline measurements of expansions for the granules can be realized. We do already probes to control extrusion lines for polymers, but okay, protein is different. I prefer to have not only the size of the food, but also test of the food. So that's why in general, we are ready to consider details and after this meeting to look for the solution. Plus, in general, just to mention that inline, we really provide any kind of spectroscopy solutions with our probes, which will really monitor composition of the food. Then food will be not only nice looking, but really tasty.
Fantastic. So I'll speak to Elena so that she can maybe connect us, and we will I'll definitely also bring along our technology manager, Carlos, and I'm sure he's the one who's actually already looking into this. So I'm sure we can work something out together, Slava.
Great.
I was really amazed,
Sunil.
I was really amazed with the presentation. I am very happy to make a lot of connections, but there was something that I still didn't get. So many of your products are gluten-free, which is fantastic. Gluten-free products still have a little higher cost for the average person who has a problem being celiac. We can help you there. So we have developed a platform. Lumencia is one of the examples. We can develop biosensors that are gluten label free, and they actually can measure this sensor. But the question here would be, where do you want this gluten-free sensor to be in the process monitoring? Should it be at the end to guarantee that the full product is gluten-free, or is there a particular part of the process when you would like to check there to see if there is any kind of gluten trace?
So I guess the ideal thing, obviously, if we've checked the raw materials, we know that everything that comes after that is gluten-free because our entire premises are gluten-free. So what we need to sort out is ensure that the raw materials are all gluten-free, because once we take it from there, or especially once you've actually mixed all the products that have to be extruded, that's exactly when we need to make the measurement.
Santiago from Lumencia, you have been working on the gluten-free part, which is something that makes us very excited. How does it work? Because I know very well the Lumencia technology, but particularly for the gluten-free, what kind of sensors can you develop that could help this industry?
Yes, in fact, the gluten-free aspect of the allergen-free has many regulatory and also certification processes. The reason why the question to answer is not only where can you help, but where can you also, how can you help the companies to make their customer to be confident of them? That is, you have to be certified and you have to be compliant and these kind of things. So what we are doing is starting the certification path to go with this kind of system, and also to be available to offer our systems to laboratories and so on. So for the question is that for as the gluten-free is defined as a concentration of the overall, so you have to take a sample because you are measuring in concentration. You are not making an absolute measurement. So you also always have to take a sample, at least at this moment, and then to make an extraction, and you can help on both sides, on the raw material and also in the final production, also in rinse water or in surface hygienic control. That is for the cleanliness of the surfaces after cleaning and this kind of thing. There are lots of parts of the production line where you can help on that. So you have to be reliable, robust, and also fast, of course.
Slava.
Yeah, we'll be happy to collaborate with Lumencia because, Santiago, we are a fiber optic manufacturer. We knew more or less exactly which sources of light, detectors, what else to use. But you are system integrator, we are component manufacturer. Glucose, gluten.
Connection.
Gluten has specific absorption bands, between 8 and 11 microns. And we have fiber optics, which can simply go either in raw materials or at any stage of the manufacturing from raw material up to the end. That's why, in general, it's a question, to find optimal solution, which will be portable, low cost, and even with the data transfer through Wi-Fi to the cloud, and then it will come to end user, to Sunil, and he will see what's going on in three-dimensional way.
We are completely open to adapt new ways of sensing. We are not using what you are mentioning now, but we are completely open to start new cooperation and these kind of things, of course.
That sounds fantastic. So we have yet another handshake here, and we will take it into follow-up. But I want to come now to one other possibility of solutions, because we are talking about different measurements, different spectroscopies. So how about putting it all together? And we have Francesca Moglia here, who can tell us a little bit about that together with multiple. Francesca, please share with us.
Hi, thanks a lot, Elena. Thanks a lot also to Sunil. That was very interesting talk today, and also to all the other people that already discussed a bit of solutions to help you. So one could be maybe concerning a bit more, now going back to your list, you were talking about the textures. So I guess that with one of our solutions, it could be something that we could discuss as well with you, because basically EPIC is among their different supporting European funded initiatives, is also working with multiple. That is exactly like already Elena mentioned it, as the advantage. I go now to presentation mode. So sorry, it's bigger. I see Elena already like. So thank you that I noticed. So basically, multimodal is called multiple because basically we put different building blocks that is different kinds of hardwares together with the way, let's say, the surface, let's say the platform where you can basically manage all the different devices and basically build a tailored solution to different kind of industries. So here you see we have the three first, let's say, building block in the first line of the 5 are the devices. So snapshot, visible, and short wavelength IR perspective imaging cameras. We have laser-based gas sensors more in the mid wavelength IR, and then we have these organic electronic-based spectrometers. So for the solution that we could be in working with Dacsa, we are actually working already with the food industry, with the chocolate industry. As you see below, we have 3 end users and 1 is for the food industry. And there, one of the characteristics is also to check the glossiness. That is more something we do with cameras, but also the tempering, and so also how the characteristics, so this treatment that you do with chocolate in cooling and then heating up the chocolate to improve the quality, that is done with spectrometers. And so I feel like we could work together with finding this, qualifying the textures of the food that you were mentioned in advance. And so I would say there is some room for cooperation here. And just to tell you who is working on this, so we have different groups of partners in the full partnership. We have the device manufacturers. So in this case, IMEC and AMAN are producing the cameras. And then we have Senorics building these special spectrometers. And then Iris is integrating them tailored on the machines that this chocolate company that is actually called Yotis and is in Greece, is the one that is basically would be like you as Dacsa being the one receiving the technology. So I would say there is maybe some room for discussions here as well. And I'm happy to put you in contact also with our partners, of course, and for further discussions, if this could be the case.
I think it's quite clear that it definitely could work. So really appreciate that, Francesca, for taking us into consideration. And we know the chocolate industry well. We have lots of colleagues there. So I guess at the end of the day, it's quite similar what we need to attain. So definitely, yes, let's arrange for a meeting and move forward with that. I think there can be very
looking forward. Looking forward also to talk then with your chocolate colleagues. And of course, yeah, very broad company. That makes that totally sense. Of course, you brought today some of the topics, but definitely there is a lot of multiple, not only the name of the project, but multiple ways to collaborate, I would say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Francesca. It was fantastic. Slava, what's on your mind?
Very shortly, I am really impressed by a great set of partners, Francesca, you have already. But a very general comment to everybody, guys, when we are going to the, let's say, market, and see nice tomatoes, cherries, what else, we are not eaten by eyes. And all the technologies which you mentioned are only to see something, at the distance. That's why before you will put anything in your mouth, it's difficult to make a conclusion if it's really tasty or if it's really, let's say, useful. So that's why I suggest that, together with your partners, we'll be really happy to provide you, how to say, fiber optic tongue, which will go in any food inside, and then you can really measure, not only enjoy by eyes, that it's a pretty tomato, So something like that.
Thank you very much, Slava. Remember that any project in which EPIC participates is never going to be a closed club. All the EPIC members will find value in this project because our goal of this project is.
And we need a better project where Jose
The
doesn't
multiple
have a
of the
problem
other
with his
project is
connection.
Did for us. We continue with this fantastic program. I think, I hope everybody can hear me because I can hear you and see you very beautifully. We continue with this program to go to one of the market leaders in the meat processing industry. We go to Embutidos Martinez, part of the group Martinez. Maria Cardona is the head of quality at Embutidos Martinez. Is going to help us so to help her making higher quality, even higher quality, even higher quality to her food. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much.
We can see, we can hear Maria really well.
Can you hear me?
Yes, all we got to do is to go in slideshow mode, so we can see you, we can see the slides better and hear you even clearer.
Okay, just let me 1 second. Good afternoon. Thank you very much. I am very happy to join this wonderful meeting on behalf of the Martinez Families Companies. Well, let me check if I can share here. Here it is. Well, first of all, I would like to show you a diagram of the different companies that constitute our group and some highlights so you can get an idea of the group we are. A few weeks ago, I was kindly asked to talk about some real needs in the food industry for which Photonics could be a suitable solution. So after that, I prepared some needs and the corresponding challenges that I would like to pose. The first need has to do with meeting or even exceeding consumers' quality expectations, which have previously formed the selling point and only confirmed through the eating experience. And this, in fact, constitutes a main point in a company's sustainability policy. Foster consumers' loyalty when launching a product must be the focus of the manufacturing process, and this is strongly related to intrinsic product quality cues. So, for us, using a cutting-edge technology to ensure to ensure consumer most appreciated quality cues related to physical attributes and chemical properties such as color, smell, texture, juiciness, flavor is of main importance. Some other requirements that we would ask for that technology should be that this technology must be reliable, cost efficient in the production line and sustainable. The second need has to do with keeping high hygienic standards in the production plants in a sustainable way. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but your slides for some reason are not up anymore.
Oh, okay. I'm joining it again. Okay, here I am. Sorry for that.
No worries, we can see your slide now.
Here it is.
Okay, yes.
Well,
there we go.
as I told you, the second need had to do with keeping high hygienic standards in the production plants in a sustainable way, but not only with this, also considering environmental issues, but also taking into account productive and economic aspects, which is key in order to be competitive. We will need a technological solution for hard-to-reach areas in our production plants. Also, some other requirements for this technology must be that this technology should be reliable, cheap, effective in a wide range of microorganisms, sustainable, rapid detection, close to manufacturing line, safe for food and people, easy to handle, and able to be combined with other technologies like chemicals, other physical technologies and biotechnological solutions in a synergistic way. And this is what I wanted to present, and thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for sharing with us, Maria. It's very nice to see the overview, and well, I'm very happy that you didn't give exactly the same presentation as I saw before, because otherwise I would have become too hungry by now and would not be able to focus on the challenges that you bring to us. I would like to go kind of backwards from the last from second to first challenge. You're talking about hygienic standards. So can we get a little bit more in detail of understanding? So what is the challenge there? So is it on a production line where the meat is being produced, so that the line needs to be cleaned, or is it somehow treatment of the meat, or it's some other part of the line which maybe are not as easily accessible? So let's understand a little bit better, what is it that you're looking for?
Mainly areas which are not easily accessible for the classical methodology, like water and chemicals.
Okay, so in that case, perhaps some coatings, or some treatment with light would be something that you would be looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes.
Sorry.
No, so I just try to understand the challenge a little better and try to translate it also here to have a discussion coming to see who will pick it up, because I have a couple of candidates, but they're silent for now. So so the treatment of the hidden part, as you mentioned now, so I believe it's probably one of the bigger challenges for you. So how inaccessible they are. So do we need to integrate solutions there, or do they need to be cleaned constantly? Can you do it once in a while? So can you give us a little bit more details on the process that you're looking for?
Yes, for example, we got some solutions already implanted in our plants. For example, we use UV LEDs online during the process to disinfectation of the belts. The belts where we use to manage with the products. These are online operative. Afterwards, we can do the cleaning with chemicals and water, but this is during production, so we do not affect the environment, the manufacturing environment.
Yeah. Okay, so since we are talking about UV disinfection, I would like to bring to conversation, we have Olga from Laser Components. Olga, are you here with us? Would you like to also maybe comment and tell us a few words about Laser Components?
Hi, hello, Elena.
Oh, it's
hello,
almost
Jose.
Merry Christmas.
Thank
so
you
how
for
fantastic.
organizing. Great show, great event, Jose. Thank you again for moderating our event 2 weeks ago. It was great. So it's a very interesting topic. Yeah, I heard very carefully to Maria, and I just tipped my question, but I can now ask it directly. How hidden you asked already, so maybe I can then should share a slide.
Yes, let's do that. Okay, usually it goes as a green button at the bottom of the screen, which says share screen. Okay, it's coming up. Still coming. There you go. Can we also try in presentation mode, full screen?
Yes, sure. Not a screen right now, right?
No, it's still the same, but maybe we can try F5 or you just need to change the screens. Okay.
Do you see it right now?
Yes, but it's still not really full screen. Okay, now it's good. Perfect.
Yeah, better. Now it's a PDF, maybe better solution. Yeah, so as far as I understood Maria, there is a kind of hidden food production where she wants to disinfect. What you can see here, are some really small components on the basis of UV disinfection. So the UV emitters on one side, but also if Maria needs to know how much is still the emission of the LEDs, she also can use the detectors for monitoring. So I think it is going in this direction, right?
Maria, what do you think?
We speak here about a very small component. LED is few millimeter each chip.
Well, we are looking for this technology that keeps during the processing, during the manufacturing process, you know, all the surfaces in a very high hygienic standard, very clean and disinfected during the manufacturing process. Okay, we are monitoring our surfaces, taking samples, and we analyze the surfaces samples in our labs.
Okay.
So if I mean that is the way in which we are monitoring actually the state of the surfaces at every time during processing and then afterwards, because when the plant is closed, you know, we apply the chemicals and do the big cleaning task.
Okay, so I think there are two ways to disinfect. One way is of course with chemicals, and another is with light. Both can be used separately, but also together because of impurities on the surface can also affect the disinfection with light. But on the other side, you cannot always disinfect with chemicals. So by using UVC light, you have a very elegant method to disinfect online.
I would like to bring here a third possible solution to what you Olga just mentioned. Here we have Andreas from TU Dresden, who is also talking on behalf of Lampas. Andreas, could you please tell us how Lampas could be helping disinfection on production lines?
Yes, of course. Thank you. Should I show some slides or just talking?
Well, if you have a short one slide, that would be great to accommodate, but otherwise we're also here to listen.
I do it fast. I hope you can see my screen. So what we are doing in Lampas is new
Maybe put it in presentation mode, since we already have it up.
Yeah.
Then we will see it even better. And now switch the screens. Yes, just one more step. Yes. Okay, fantastic.
So we're working on a project where we are developing a laser-based technology in order to functionalize surfaces. And in particular, to, let's say, the hygienic point of view, we are imitating surfaces from some insects or plants that already have very interesting properties, like the one that is here in the screen that has antibacterial properties. And the reason for that relies on the size of the structures that are in this insect, as well as on the geometry. So, and together with the partners in Lampas project, what we are doing is putting together a polygon scanner device in combination with interference patterning, which is a special technology to create repetitive periodic surface structures, but we want to do it at high speed. Therefore, we are combining this technology with a high power laser system so that our target is to reach production speeds of several square meters per minute. And just that you see here some kind of the topographies that can be created not only with the machine we are developing in Lampas, but with laser-based technologies. So we can create structures with very perfect defined feature sizes and geometry and trying to mimic natural examples. Then we are also capable to provide steels, for example, or technological materials with these advanced surface functions. And so this can be done then by using laser processing. And I can imagine that with quite good chances of success that we could provide such textures on relevant materials for avoiding contamination.
So I believe, Maria, that could be potentially at least part of the solution for you for those hidden parts where you can't really reach them very well.
It sounds really interesting. So I would be very happy to be in touch and know a little bit more about this technology that maybe it would be for us.
Very good. So then we will make sure that you will talk to Andreas more on this topic and figure out better how you can work together. But now if we switch from the disinfection challenge number 2, moving up to challenge number 1, you were talking more about measuring color, smell, texture, and some other parameters. So of course, there are optical ways of doing so as well. And here in the chat, Jose already started a little discussion of his own. So Jose, let's bring it up to the whole audience and share with everybody some thoughts on considerations about hyperspectral imaging. So Jose,
thank you very much, Elena. So I'm very worried about the quality of my sound. Can you hear me, see me well? Am I moving fast enough so you can see me? Good. So I am really excited here about the hyperspectral imaging cameras. So when I saw the presentation of Carmen, then I thought, okay, this is really when we shine. This is when we can make a big difference. Maria Cardona, it's really great to meet you. When you talk today about that the solution has to be cheap, I got worried because at the end of the day, you put a camera there, and hyperspectral imaging cameras are being put now in satellites. That means that when you put it there, it stays there like forever. And then the cost of every process monitoring becomes for free because the camera is going to do all the process monitoring for many years. So could you explain us what did you mean by cheap? So we could maybe make a match with the cameras they have here, for example, from Inospec, from Xenix, from NIR, from Inestec.
Well, I mean, we need a solution, but we have to keep our competitiveness. So, I mean, if the technology nowadays is very, very, very expensive, I mean, we lose. I mean, you have to think everything. Although it is very interesting, we need an answer, but cost effective.
It's really interesting, Maria, because a hyperspectral imaging camera is a camera in which every pixel is a spectrometer. So for every pixel, we're actually measuring an absorption band. And that absorption band will tell you the amount of water, will tell you almost chemical composition that you can actually analyze because everything really absorbs from the visible to the mid-infrared. So conceptually, you have an array really large of a spectrometer, which means that you can detect the chemical composition of any part of the food instantly, in line. Am I exaggerating here, Florian? Florian Boland from Inospec, one of the most attractive hyperspectral imaging cameras in the sector.
No, you're exactly right, Jose. Good introduction, thank you. I can maybe share a slide or two.
Always. EPIC members can always share a slide at every EPIC meeting. That's your membership value, man. Florian, what I really want, because Maria is super excited, because I already made her excited, but she's concerned about the cost.
Yeah, well, the cost, you have to see, we are part in the lower price segment, so we're serving especially industry customers like that for inline applications and so on. They are also the very small and very tiny, very high developed, more expensive cameras, of course, as well. But we decided, okay, we have to go with the lower price segment, and therefore we can offer a lot of cameras for the industrial sector. And let me just give you a short introduction. So maybe one or two words for Inospec. We are one of the older competitors in the market, I think. We were founded in 2005 and therefore have a lot of experience in the hyperspectral market. But in the recent years, a lot of companies and a lot of technology development is there, and as we noticed. So just to give you a short image, you can see the presentation?
Yes, crystal clear. Okay. Go slideshow mode if you want so we can see it bigger.
Yeah, that's a good hint. Doesn't want to.
It's the button next to it. The button next to the one that you're pressing. Yeah, that one.
Ah, no, I shared the wrong screen. Give me just a second. Okay, now I have it on all screens.
But we can see clearly enough. So please give one. This is good enough.
No,
yes.
Okay. So therefore, as you mentioned, we measure the pixel. Like for our NIR camera, it's a 30 micrometer pixel size. So you have a very high resolution. It's in real time, of course. Inline applications, no problem. We do it like our main customers are using the conveyor belt with like 5 or 4 meters per second. So a really fast speed, really high measurement quality in that regard. And therefore you get all the information you basically want to see. The different techniques are shown here. Like we have the push broom imaging systems only. So we have only line scan, so to speak. There are several other systems available, but usually for industry and inline application, especially push broom imaging is the fastest. This is what Jose just described. So you get the information on every pixel on the line scan, and therefore for each pixel you get the hyperspectral information over the whole measurement range the camera is capable of. And therefore we can build the hypercube with all these spectral information and do an imaging afterwards where you can see whatever you want to see. So basically the quintessence of all this is the reference. We need good reference material. So we reference like substance A, substance B, and just separate them. That's easy. If you would want to measure different chemicals, you would need the chemical as a reference, of course, and therefore can get all the information you want to know. And humidity, of course, is one of the most easiest parts we can do. We also can do quantification. As you have all the information, every pixel you can amount or summarize the amount of information and therefore get a quantification. Just a quick overview over our camera system. So at Innospec, we provide a lot of camera system in a very far range, whereas our competitors mainly go with 1 or 2 cameras. But we want to get a hands-on and of course, offer our customers a lot of possibilities, and therefore we do some feasibility studies in-house with some samples, and we decide what is the best camera to go with. But don't want to stress out the time, just a short application example. As I just mentioned, we can do the quantification. In this example, it's a cardboard factory, and they were concerned about the different humidity over their line. As you can see, we're just measuring water here with an absorption band around 1,550 nanometers. And therefore we can see exactly, or we can do a model that then shows us where is more humidity, where is less water content, etc. And afterwards, of course, adapt your line or your settings in the line.
Thank you very much. And for me, one of the key things here is that we want to match the specs that we got from Maria Cardona. And she really showed us here that she wants reliable, cheap, sustainable, rapid. So far, so good. Safe, easy to handle. So far, so good. I think here what we got to really is test. And ideally test before invest. Maria, is there a possibility that we test? So I have the cameras, I have them, and if not, I take the car and I drive to Hanover, or I drive to Düsseldorf, and I bring them with me. So is there a way that we could test in any pilot production these cameras to see if they match, if it could be usable for the Grupo Martinez?
That would be very interesting.
So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna drive all the way there. I'm gonna make a tour, collect all the cameras from all of you, and bring them to Spain. Thank you very, very much, Maria.
You don't have to. We have partners in Spain that already have our cameras, so the way would be very short.
My job is done. So far, what we want with this meeting is to connect with the end users, and we are extremely happy how the meeting is going. Please remember that at the end of the day, the meeting is useless if you don't do the follow-up. So all of you who are chatting in the chat, please make sure that you connect and you do something out of this meeting. This is what we dedicate our life to. Why don't we go to the next presentation today? On the next presentation, we want to bring the industry together by bringing one of our key system integrators in Europe and in the network. We're going to go to one of the biggest brands in this industry. We're going to go to Philips, because we have domestic appliances Philips represented in the room by their technical expert from PreDevelopment, Frans Starmans. Frans, thank you very much for being with us. Goedemiddag, thank you. The whole industry wants to help Philips, and we are here to help you. The floor is yours.
It's good to hear that the whole industry wants to help us. That's always great, of course, to know. Let me share my screen. Where was it? I lost it. There it is. Yeah. I hope you see it.
Crystal clear.
Yeah. Okay. So let me first give you a short introduction on who we are, and then I come on my last slide then on some more general challenges I want to discuss with you. Not as specific already as the others perhaps presented, but let's see that perhaps we can deep dive into some of them, and otherwise we can do follow-ups, of course. Yeah, Philips Domestic Appliances. What is this company? So Philips Domestic Appliances is a new company which was divested by Philips. So we are not Philips anymore. We are now our own company, which is a bit smaller than Philips. Philips is still, I think, 50,000 to 60,000 people. We are a smaller company now, which is 7,000 to 8,000 people. And we belong to the Hill House Capital Group. So, and we also have, let me say, a smaller portfolio now in domestic appliances only. Let me come directly now to which are the appliances that we still carry. That are kitchen appliances. I will, let me say, go in more detail about that, because that is the category that I will be discussing about today with you. Then we have home care, which means that, okay, that has to do with floor care and with air. So air filters, air humidifiers. Home care will be, let me say, all things that have to do with cleaning carpets and these kind of things. We have a category coffee, as you know, filter means these kind of things, and garment care. So everything to do to clean your garment. So we are still quite worldwide, as also the old Philips was. We are presented in over 52 countries worldwide. We also sell more or less worldwide, and we have some of these. These are our current brands. I want to tell you is, so we have still, the main brand is still Philips. So although we are not the Philips company anymore, we still have the Philips brand as our main brand. So that is something that we may use. But we have also some others. So Alita for South America, PreDevelopment for India, Seiko, you will all know of perhaps in Europe. Gaggia is more specific in Italy region. Now I come to kitchen appliances, where I want to focus on. So let me say, as kitchen appliances, we do not sell food. Yeah, so we know. Let me say, in this talk we have today, we are not food industry, but we want to sell appliances by which people can make their own food. Yeah, and of course with food that some of these, the food industry of course produces, but they have to, let me say, use it in our appliances to make then some final dishes out of it. And we want that our people are healthy due to this, and we want to help them. Yeah, and let me say, our belief is that we believe that, let me say, the most healthy way for people to prepare foods is not to go to the restaurant. Okay, we do not forbid them to go to the restaurant, but it should not be every day. We think that the power of homemade food is really that what will make people, let me say, really more, give them the possibility to have a healthy life regarding to the food that they take in. And the thing that we want to focus on more and more, especially also with, let me say, the NutriU app is a tool via which we give digital support to our users, is that we want, let me say, to give the people support to adapt their intake to individual needs. So people who have perhaps too much intake of something, to tell them you should perhaps go more to these kind of recipes, or when they have a lack of certain vitamins, we want to advise them, hey, why can't you take every day and now every other day now a juice with made from this and this and this, because there are more vitamins D or E or whatever they. So this is our core categories. So air fryer you might know, so cooking with hot air. We have blenders, food preparations. We have several things like breakfast for breakfast, certain cookers we have for rice, multi-cookers, so more for combi dishes, and other things like, beer. We have also beer, a beer tender. It's perhaps not our hero product, but okay, we still have that in our portfolio. That is something. Sorry for the noise. So the challenges was made with my colleague Jan and myself. We work in Klagenfurt, which is, let me say, the global technology center for kitchen appliances, and we work together with 5 other sites. What are our areas of interest? So there are quite a lot. One thing is cooking. Cooking is quite a complex thing. We want to help users to cook always in a good way. Don't burn the food, but also have, let me say, a really good end result that it's done. Yeah, then it's not food safe, etc. So observation of the cooking process. That might be, for example, to look to the surface of the foods that are in the cooking appliance, or by looking to the cooking fumes. That might be a solution. Yeah. So okay, certain cooking fumes at some moment in time in the process develop. How can you see these and define that? Okay, now the food is done, or it's starting now to burn. Let's stop quickly. Yeah. Then to give more information about, hey, are you doing good with the different macronutrients you're taking in, and that might be, let me say, looking to the measurement of the nutrients that people are taking in from their foods. That might be the cooked foods or still the fresh foods. We would like to have non-intrusive, but okay, it would also be that they have to place it somewhere in an appliance and then it's measured, or there is a tool via which you could do it. Food spoilage might be an interesting topic. Is it possible to see, for example, already in the shop, am I buying something that is still okay, or is it in 2 days not good anymore because something is already happening there? Looking to not cooking, but perhaps to liquid foods, blenders foods, to measure properties there. Cleaning, we heard something about cleaning already in the talk. That might be interesting, might be for disinfection, but also perhaps like the lambda or what it was, to give surfaces certain shapes, final micro shapes to prevent that something is happening from microorganisms. Or is there other ways to, with photons, with intense light or whatever, could there be some processing we done? We do not do at this time, except in our air fryer, we have some infrared heating, but that is it. What is the scope we are thinking of? Okay, first instance, we always think about device integration. When you look to the cooking process observation, that will be, okay, then you need to somehow inside the device or at the outlet of the device, you need to measure something. But it might also be a standalone application. As mentioned, for example, such a tool that users can take into the shop and then they decide, okay, what to take home and what not. But in the end, it might also be, let me say that for some applications, it might be a laboratory setup, might be also okay, would be of interest for us to, for example, when we observe the cooking process, might also be, okay, let's do that in the laboratory, from that learn, and then implement in software something that we did learn. About price, Jose does not want to talk too much about price, but okay, our end users are, of course, they have to pay it for it when it's in a device. And I must perhaps disappoint you, but when we think about something adding it, which it adds value to the consumer, we do not have that much money. Yeah? It's about 5 to 10 euros we can add. Yeah? So that is not much. A standalone application might be a bit more because that is then built on something that is specific about this measurement method. Might perhaps go to 20, 25 euros. A laboratory device might, of course, go to 5,000 to 10,000 euros. So that's it, what I would like to present you.
Thank you very much, Frans. It's very nice list you have in here. And I'm sure that I'm not the only one who is finding it very nice and interesting, since you already mentioned, and we did touch the topic before about the disinfection. And Olga here was talking about very small disinfecting devices. Olga, do you think that it's something that could actually be also integrated inside of the appliances and work there. And I don't know what exactly conditions would it have to withstand. So Frans, maybe you could also comment on that, so we can see if that's something which can happen.
Yeah, no, that was indeed I made also some notes already. A few more quite interesting topics already discussed. But the disinfection, you have to think then something about, okay, as Philips domestic appliances, we are not in white goods, so we're not in refrigerators. Nevertheless, we can think about that we give people then, let me say, for example, you could think of boxes in which they have prepared food, and they want to keep it for some days in the storage, might be in the refrigerator, that might be added into there. And that, let me say, that might be then, let me say, the conditions would be not harsh, like in the cooking appliances, might be more, let me say, room temperature, perhaps 20 degrees down because of when it goes into the refrigerator. And the conditions, further conditions, I think there might be, let me say, certain humidity for some foods, of course, that are involved. But of course, it would have to need, let me say, it would have to, let me say, then cover all surfaces. Yeah? So all surfaces would have to be somehow treated, of course.
Yeah, Frans, thank you for comment. So I didn't want to confuse you with the refrigerator. It was just an example. Of course, UV disinfection, as with the LEDs, is usable everywhere. It was just an example for me to show. It's very visual how it works against mold, but of course it's also working against bacteria and viruses. And yeah, so room temperature is perfect. If it is getting hotter, we need to cool it. But I think that such an applications, as you showed with a home appliances, not only fridge, but all of them are very let's say usable with the LEDs. And I know some examples already where the LEDs are included. Some maybe not steamer. Steamer is also a good example to use them.
Okay, thank you very much, Olga. Frans, you want to add something?
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to move to trying to understand some other challenges that you listed here. And since you started talking about cooking fumes, then of course there is such a thing as Mid-IR technologies. I know that also Jose has a comment to that. Jose?
Yeah, so I love when Frans says, Jose doesn't like talking about pricing. You are right, Frans, I hate it. There's nothing I hate the most than talking about prices. But what I can tell you is that we do need your support to reduce them. In many of your products, you have been talking about the need for integrating the sensor for doing the real-time quality monitoring. And we do have in Europe technology called mid-infrared that can do a spectroscopy of the range between 3 to 12 micrometers. We have the best fibers you will see from Photonics later. We have great spectrometer, great camera solutions. If we want to reduce the price, we need to generate the volume. That's why we have created in EPIC the Mid-Infrared Alliance. And I have one of the representatives in the room. I think I have somebody from Clade in the room. Yes, Björn Hoffman is here. Björn, good afternoon. You saw the challenge here. You have mid-infrared technology to do the liquid characterization, which is quite spectacular. Is there a way that it can, with a roadmap, a way that can be integrated in products such as these ones?
Hi, Jose. Yeah, thank you very much for the introduction. So Mid-IR technology is able to fingerprint liquids or other materials. We at Clade are focusing mostly on liquid samples, and the possibilities are endless. So we aim for process online monitoring in pharmaceuticals, in biotechnology, but also in beverage industry. And so far, and we also couple it with AI approaches and cloud data storage. So what we are able to offer is location independent monitoring of incoming goods, for example, outgoing goods, and
this fingerprinting is extremely important. So we are only aiming for the liquid samples. Others here are more flexible and also on solid samples and gauges samples. But we are, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Clay's cameras are really fascinating for Philips. I'm sure that when do you have a picture there, something that you can show him of one of your camera systems? If not, I have it as well. But I mean, the important thing here is they're very excited. The problem is that Frans is very concerned when it comes to add hyperspectral or add any camera to his systems on the price. Is there a way that we can work on a roadmap to make sure that with end users like Philips, we can decrease that price?
Of course, prices can be always decreased by working on cheaper detectors, cheaper spectrometers. We are working on getting down the price of detectors, and that's where have you heard? I'm back again.
Yes.
So our roadmap aims at reducing costs on many levels, on the detectors, on the spectrometers, on the optics, on the flow cells, and so on. So the roadmap is definitely going from very advanced pricing down to things that you can also add to food industry and so on, where you don't have, where you're much more price sensitive compared to pharmaceuticals and biotechnology.
Frans, when you hear about the mid-infrared technologies, many often you hear concepts such as quantum cascade lasers, which are typically quite prohibitively in price today, but they are decreasing this price by half every year over the last 5 years. So which means that we continue that trend, it will be very affordable in the future. They're just a piece of semiconductor laser. So they can reach their semiconductor price. The same thing happened with detectors. We have detectors that are decreasing its price and increasing their sensitivity. The key question is, if we manage to have these sensors to the lower price, is there a way, a process in which you could do some testing, in which you could bring the demonstrator to you to test it to see if it's relevant to your domestic appliances?
Yeah, sure. That is always possible. Let me say we have been looking to, let me say, these near infrared spectrometers from companies like Consumer Physics, AMS, and then there's this Eindhoven company with Multispectra. So these things we regularly do. So when there is also in this field, let me say, a certain development that comes then into prices which might get interesting, happy to do evaluation together. Yeah, of course.
We could have made, I don't think we could have made a better introduction to the next presentation. I want to give the floor. You know, Frans, if the Mid-Infrared Alliance had a president, we don't have a president, but if we had a president, that president would be Slava Artyushenko, CEO and president of Photonics. Slava, thank you very much for being at this meeting. We started talking about mid-infrared, and now I give you the floor because I want to create, with this group, I want to start a project. Tell us how that project could take shape. The floor and the attention of everyone goes to our mid-infrared fiber supplier, Photonics. Goes to you, Slava.
Thanks a lot, Jose. I really feel great at this meeting because I should share my feelings that, you know, something like 40 years ago when I was much younger, you know, my memory remembers that food was really much better, you know, so then it's not only red color tomatoes, they were really tasty. So that's why I think what we should really remember that within last quarter of century or more, we have more and more pollutions, and our food is already, it's not only organic, it's a lot of chemicals in. That's why pollutions which go through atmosphere, through the contamination of the agro field, everything goes to the, let's say, stomach of cow, and then we have to drink this milk. But in this milk, for example, it can be traces of pesticides, you know, trichloroethylene, tetrachloroethylene, what else? So that's why, and food starts from water. Without water, it will be no food at all. So that's why water control is possible with fiber optics. And again, guys, I don't know if you have been once in so-called full darkness restaurants, when you don't see your food at all. You only test it, so that's why fiber optics in this case, will not help to see your food, but it will help you to feel it, to understand it, taste, aroma, what else. So I will not go in details because of time restriction, for many applications where you should immerse your fiber optic probe into the oil, into the wine, into honey or milk. But only would like to comment on this very interesting discussion started right now, how cheap can be solutions. Then, at every product, which are consumer market, where Philips produce thousands or millions of, let's say, products, how it can be embedded in the product. We started from not cheapest solutions. We started from multispectral solution. So Raman, fluorescence, FTIR, near-infrared, so full range of fiber optic spectra from UV up to mid-infrared, just to understand which method is the most informative. But this is not to recommend to every housewife. It's just to limit, after the smart choice, which wavelengths are needed. Just to mention that we have fiber optics which really connect any kind of spectroscopy unit, photonics unit, from UV to mid-infrared, and when we started, first request was from Kronenburg Beer in Strasbourg. They would like to control fermentation of the beer in real time, in brewery, because still, milk control is still done, by sampling. But, there is excellent example of progress with FOSS, because they do it usually 1 test per hour. Now they have a new machine, I will show you later, then you can do it, look for this picture. This is their kind of, let's say, worldwide first spectrometer used for milk in stream. Instead of 2 tests per hour, you can do it 480 times per hour. 7 seconds for 1 test, so that's why here I can only mention that they used only 1 method, very informative, because of course in mid-infrared you can detect almost everything, sugar, glucose, gluten, amides, fat, what else, But when we tried our multispectral system, we can see that in infrared it's also very different. In fluorescence, it's also very different. So that's why not to make a fusion of several methods, but not for the, how to say, very expensive multispectral system. Because, for example, when we started development of this sensor, it was a combi probe where you unite fluorescence, and the same tip is for mid-infrared absorption, for molecular analysis. We tried it for 3 organs of chicken, liver, breast, and fat. We started from very expensive FTIR spectrometer, fluorescence spectrometer. Altogether, it was 50,000–60,000 euro. But when we found a very proper chemometric model, it's no need in these systems. It's enough to have 1 wavelength here. In this case, for example, for chicken, it was 1,743 centimeters reversible, and 1 for fluorescence, just 2 lamps. So, and then 1 probe, and you can really put this kind of detector on conveyor, and you can touch each organ of chicken when it's moving at conveyor with high speed. And fiber probe is flexible, so you can detect immediately which organs, because then mechanics will cut the chicken properly. And with this kind of idea, I couldn't say that it was our first funding, because again, we discussed, and Frans mentioned nice or cheap spectrometers. Spectrometers are still, for this range, are about 10,000 to 15,000 euro. And when we replace this spectrometer by 4 LED in near-infrared, all components in this spectrometer, including photodiode, very good one from Hamamatsu, 4 LED was less than 1,000. And then, it was just few pieces, if it will be multiple production, calibration of this device, moisture sensor, done with spectrometer, realized precision of 0.1% moisture measurements in flour, in starch, in sugar, and so on. So that's why, yes, there is a solution. It's not only cheaper detectors or cheaper lasers. It's simply another thinking. When you look for Mother Nature doesn't ask you, to make spectral analysis of the pictures of the, let's say, Christmas tree. They simply give you an impression, and your cognitive science, your brain, makes extremely fast solutions based on very few wavelengths. So that's why idea is very simple, that in the future, if it will be production of milk or any other food product, it should be only few critical points where you would like to control gluten from the raw material, and then maybe at the end product, But then, data from the spectral sensors must fly to the cloud. Real-time treatment of data. Real-time return to the end user. That's why you will see at milk plant, you will see, Frans, how this sugar is drying, in Cuba, sitting with under your Christmas tree, because you will simply dial. Here is a IP address of the sensor. You will simply dial, which sensor, and you can control what's going on, let's say, other side of planet or on the moon, where we plan, to make our new food production. So that's why this is a concept, guys. I think we should really change our mind and fuse, let's say, a good understanding of our brain or cognitive science with a selection of the most informative wavelengths, like we always do at the crossing light. You don't care about, let's say, spectra of, let's say, red light, yellow, and green. You simply have a general green or general red, and then you drive or you will stop. So same principle, but really realized through, let's say, millions of detectors. We have recent request, Frans, maybe you can comment, wasting of food waste. We all together waste 30% of food on this planet. We have billions of people hungry, starving, and same time we put down, in the garbage, huge tons, multi-tons of waste food. Control of it also needed, because we can make something from waste food, we can produce methane or what else, so that's why my, conclusion is very simple. Let's think how to make a control of food, beverages, really more, smart, and not only going straight forward because of, let's say, we have spectrometers. So what? Yes, we have something like 20 spectrometers in our lab. I do not recommend it to use for every customer. It must be customized sensors. Let's try to develop together, and I will be happy to collaborate with every source manufacturer, detector manufacturer, and of course, Philips. We should know what for. Every sensor will be customized. Sensor for milk will be not the same as sensor for meat. So that's why, but for customized solutions, guys, we are not buying something that, let's say, well, let's work on it.
Thank you very much, Slava. We will work on it, and we will work on it together, and not only with Frans, not only with Philips, but also with Maria, also with Sunil, and with the whole supply chain coming together. Yes, I understand, and he has a Christmas tree behind. Frans, you're muted at the moment. You would need to unmute yourself.
No, but I can make a short comment here, Slava.
Sure.
I agree. Yes, you need to optimize, of course, what you do to us consumers. I do not agree with your remark. Don't do it for every customer. That is where I do not agree on it. I still have this dream that we can, let me say, with really spec down technology where we perhaps only have 4 or 5 wavelengths, near infrared or whatever, that we can make for 5 to 10 euros. And via that, we can, let me say, every consumer can observe their own intake of macronutrients, and based on that, we can give them advice how to modify their intake, because that is also the way of every dietitian in the world. When a patient or a person comes, I have too much fat on my things, or I'm too skinny, whatever. The people first have to make, let me say, to follow a booklet. They have to fill it in every day. They have to fill in what they eat. And after a few days, they are fed up with it. And it would be so nice to have a simple tool to make this so easy for them that they can do it daily, and not only for a few days.
Frans, I just exaggerated the way. Of course, you're absolutely right. If we shall develop something for the network of, let's say, huge net of McDonald's, or Coca-Cola, then, we shall really, let's say, start from the huge plants, where this food is produced, and we shall make it safe, and we shall make it tasty, but then it should be steps, because it's a dream at the end that every housewife can control if there are pesticides in the kartoffel, she bought today, so yes.
Every housewife, and more importantly, every husband, they also start taking over all the cooking, and I think domestic appliances can make that happen. And Grupo Martinez can help making it easier, and Dacsa will make sure that all the ingredients and becoming into those products also are very tasty.
Elena, should be a special project named Smart Kitchen, because, I hear so much, smart home. Forget it, it's just video cameras at every corner, and temperature control. Smart kitchen, because every day we must eat something, and we would like to eat healthy food and tasty food.
So Slava, I have a technical question to you, because I'm becoming hungry with all the smart kitchen and cooking now. But if we are talking about fiber probes, and you were talking about touching every piece of chicken, or also when you do beverage control, you actually have it sitting inside of the beverage and continuously monitoring. So the question I have here, because we are dealing with live matter, and whether you like it or not, some organisms are in there, and other type of contamination, not necessarily bacterial, they also can start being present just because it keeps sitting there. So what would be solution for that? Or even if you integrate it into a domestic appliance, kitchen appliance, you also want to have it still washable, that you can still clean it, that the sensor is not contaminated, both for the sake of measurement itself, but also for the sake of, keeping it all clean.
Yeah, very good question, Elena. And in general, you're absolutely right. All the fiber optic probes we develop for sartorials, for pharma business like Pfizer, who else, it's always not only biocompatible, they are sterilizable. And of course, if it's needed for the plants, even the probe, which is used multiple times, can go in so-called process interface to be, let's say, purified, calibrated, and going back again. So this is very, how to say, absolute demand. It must be free of any kind of, but when you have something on the probe, you can already detect even contamination of the probe. So that's why it's in general also kind of smart solutions how to keep it clean. We have a special demand from Pfizer, because a problem of pharma industry today, when they produce multi-tones products, they should clean reactor. And how to check if the cleaning was completed. So that's why you should really clean, you should control on the surface of stainless steel reactor that nothing is left for the next process. Yes, sure. We knew the problem and we are ready to work with partners on it.
Fantastic. So let's see if we're now going to bring on the table yet another partner for you, Slava, and for everybody else who is in the room. I suggest that we move to the final presentation of the meeting today. That would be Jörg Nonnen, the development engineer from Heuft. Jörg, I know that you prepared a very interesting presentation with some challenges in there. So I would like to ask you to unmute your microphone and share it with us, and let's see how we can also help you.
Okay, good afternoon. I just start my presentation.
Yes, please. Let's share your screen.
Just a minute. Can you see it?
It is coming up. I'll just give it a moment. Yes, perfect. The whole attention goes to you.
Okay. Hello, everybody. It was nice to hear up to now the issues you spoke about. And now I want to present in the first few minutes what the company Heuft is doing, and in the end, which issues I especially want to focus on and want some help, if possible, from the forum. Heuft is a company in Burgbrol in Germany with nowadays 18 locations worldwide. We have about 1,200 employees. We build machinery and equipment and inspection technology for everything which is packed into bottles, into cartons, into everything. So what we
you can try spacebar. It often works.
I tried it. Is it right? Okay. Here you see a short, an image that shows all the variety of packages that we are inspecting, and it's mainly in the three sections: beverage, food, and pharmaceutical industries. What we are doing is a full inline inspection with speeds of, let's say, 40 pieces per second in can industry, cannings like beer cans and so on. And typical in beverage industry, it's about 20 inspections per second. What we do with all these products is checking for foreign objects, for example, with X-ray or with optical settings like with cameras. The integrity of the product, so is the cap closed correctly and things like that. The optical appearance for marketing reasons, with whether the labels are applied correctly and things like that. And to do so, we have a lot of machines that are dedicated to certain purposes. In the bottom line of this file, you can see the product line with X-ray inspection. So where we have an X-ray generator and a flat panel system, and after that, a image processing system that tries to find out what is wrong. The different types of machines here are the result of the different properties of the products to be inspected. For example, if you inspect a pizza, it's a different thing to transport it through the machine than it would be with bottles. This file shows a typical X-ray inspection. You see the Heuft Examiner XOS, that is the machinery in the left part of the image. And there are a lot of X-ray and optical inspections. And they, on the right-hand side of the file, you see the inspection images. For example, in the upper part, you can see a glass particle or glass part, which is in the product of a filled glass. And of course, that is very critical and would be a real danger. Imagining that would be baby food, and no one wants to have such a thing. And it is in means of marketing, it's a disaster to have such things. So in order to be to get information about the product and what may be inside or what may be not okay, we use different sensor technologies like cameras, of course, X-ray, as I said, ultrasonic, high frequency sensoric for to detect residual liquids in bottles after the washing machine, so that no caustic or things like that are going to the customer. Now, so that's what Heuft does. Another field where we are active and where we are trying to further develop is the inspection of crates for returnable bottles. And this is the issue I want to discuss with some of your partners. And the images on the right-hand side of the image show what is the problem, what is the issue with those returnable crates. The issue is that customers put nearly everything into a crate. It's not, of course, it is not a typical crate as it returns from customer to the into the brewery or thing like that. But it was customized for this presentation. But all these things are can be seen in crates. We had even a trailer coupling lying in a crate. And of course, the classical approach to detect those things and to separate these materials which do and things which do not belong into a crate and which would might damage the depacking machinery that the company has. So we have to distinguish between typical things that should be in a crate, bottles with and without caps, with clip locks like here, and this these old German beer bottles and so on. That are all things that are typical in crates and should be, and the packer or the depacker has to deal with it. But there are other things that might lead to problems in the process, and therefore it's necessary to detect them. The classic approach we use is camera technology, of course, where we take high-resolution images from different angles and try to find out what is in the crate, the color of the bottles, the shape of the bottles, so quite a number of things. And what we are wondering is there any other technology which might help us to achieve additional information about the contents of such a crate, like time-of-flight cameras, like structured light method, like laser triangulation or LIDAR. So that's what I would like to discuss. What are the benefits of such technologies, and what are the limitations and our experiences, and especially with regard to the reflectiveness of the glass part inside the crate. Of course, it's typical, it's glass bottles and glass things, and I guess the reflective structure might cause problem to a lot of sensor technologies. So that's what I wanted to share with you.
Thank you very much for sharing it. I think it also comes quite interestingly to the general topic of waste management, because I mean, anywhere, whether in a food production or here when you're returning the bottles, we really need to face this type of problems. And I think today we already touched a couple of times hyperspectral imaging. That's something what you should also add there on your list of possible solutions to all those cameras, time-of-flight cameras, and LiDAR and laser triangulation. And just to come down again a little bit better understanding of the challenge. So what would be the limitations of the systems that you could be integrating for this particular problem? Because we see that it's a crate here. So I can only assume, but I would like your confirmation that there is no necessarily very big time limitation. So it doesn't have to be on a very high speeds analysis.
Yeah, as I said, a typical speed in a beverage line is 20 bottles per second. And of course, when you want to fill in the end 20 bottles per second, you have to get back in the company also 20 bottles per second. Now, a typical crate had about 12, 16, 24 compartments with bottles inside. So the typical speeds at this crate, at crate lines is 1 or 2 crates per second with 20 bottles each.
Okay, so then actually speed is still quite a factor, something to really consider in. And usually it's a bit helpful, especially if you want to reduce amount of the wavelength, same as Slava was already mentioning multiple times, that sometimes you can say, solve something with just a few wavelengths, but then you also need to be quite, well, having a little bit of a prior knowledge on what you're looking at, especially if you're talking about some spectroscopy method. So just looking at the crate that you have here on the picture, that typically it would be some glass, it would be plastic, it would be some metal pieces. So many other variations do have also some organic waste, just to understand if that's something which also could, let's say, contribute to the problem, or maybe with more or less 3, 4, 5 compounds, we could already come up with something.
Yeah, the things you mentioned that are absolutely typical in crates, and that is not the depacker of the bottles has to deal with it. So it's always glass, it's always metal because the caps often are from metal. It's always plastic because you have PET bottles, you have plastic caps. So this is, you have yes. So these are materials which are absolutely normal in crate and which must be accepted. What is the main focus is to detect things that are unusual and that might cause the further process to stop, because the crate is depacked, so all the bottles are taken out of the compartments. And as a these are mechanical devices, and of course, if there is, for example, someone has placed some wood inside, it's difficult, and that happens. Or look at this. There is a bottle upside down, which happens. It's not a big deal, you could think, but of course, when there comes a depacker with wanting to pick up that bottle, it will be a disturbance, and the line will stop, and someone has to go there. So that is, it's all about keeping the line running and pushing out crates which contain materials or objects that might disturb the process beyond. And it's from the form and from the material, it's not predictable. It's predictable what could be in what is typical inside, but it's up to the customer what he does inside without thinking.
Okay, well, it's quite clear, though. I think we have some more questions, perhaps related to the glass reflection you were saying about. You were talking about earlier. We have Jan from Vortex. Jan, what is your question? What is your comment? Please unmute your microphone and let us know.
My question. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well. The question was, is it just that you want to separate the bottles into the 3 different colors that I can see in your slide, or is it much more complicated than that? I think you've answered it to some extent, because you mentioned there might be plastic caps and things like that and bits of wood in there as well that you want to separate everything out.
Okay. The tasks are very, very different. Of course, the customer wants to know whether, for example, in a beer line, it's typical brown glass, and if there is white and green glass inside, he wants to know it, because then he can we can set up the packer in a manner that, for example, he take the depacking of the crate. Only picks out the green bottles because the brown ones are typical for this process. So that is one thing. The other thing is to detect if there are foreign bottles which do not belong to the current process, like a beer bottle, half a liter, but there might be a 33 centiliter bottle or a water bottle and so on. So they have different shapes, for example. So a shape detection, which is not simple in this very disturbed thing. But the main focus for my question in this case is really, or let's say the other way around, all these things like colors, like shapes, like labels, like is there a closer on it, not that are typical tasks that we are already doing right now. Where we really have things to do and work to do is how to deal with materials and with objects that someone put into the crate, and that will how to check for whether this will disturb the following machinery in the line. And what we see is that the camera technology itself seems not to be sufficient to have a really good decision making for that. And therefore, we look for other sensors that might give additional information.
Yes, so I believe here it could be combination of sensors, or combination of different sensing mechanisms. Like for instance, we heard earlier from multiple today that Francesca shared with us. But I think that Jose might have even more ideas for you. Jose, what do you say? You need to unmute yourself for that. Can you imagine you're muted?
I have millions of ideas. People didn't want to hear me talking, that's why they muted me. Millions of ideas, but most important, Jörg, is that we have a follow-up with you. Many companies in EPIC can provide all the different solutions, and you knock at the right door. For many of them, it is better to do it one-to-one. It is better to do it privately, but we know your challenge, and we are going to make proactive discussions afterwards. Ibsen Photonics, Thomas Rasmussen, make sure you contact, because you have many solutions there in your greatest for spectroscopy. I would like to say that it is 5 minutes out of time, so allow me to close the meeting by saying that we do have scouted end user challenges. Grupo Dacsa came to with the challenge of controlling the pellet expansion during production process and the texture hardness of humid texture protein. Embutidos Martinez talk about disinfecting meat without damaging it during production process. Philips Domestic Appliances was looking for non-invasive nutrient measurement for various food types and for the disinfection tools in kitchen appliances. And finally, Heuft, the final star, we say the best for the last, they were looking for new technology to provide information about the crate contents. And we do have the best photonic technology in the world in EPIC to help you with these challenges. Please stay healthy, wear a mask, wash your hands, and have a fantastic Christmas. This was Jose Pozo, Elena Beletkaia, Francesca Moglia, and the whole EPIC team. We are here for you, and you made us very happy this season. And that concludes the public part of today's meeting. If you are in our Zoom room, our informal private discussion is about to start. I call it virtual drinks with friends. And we all know follow-up is important. But for now, if you are watching on YouTube, that's where we leave you for today. Thanks to the EPIC production crew and our sponsors for making today's event possible. More details about upcoming meetings are on our website. And if you want to get in touch with any of the participants, all you have to do is contact me directly and I will make sure you get introduced. It is all about connections. Thanks for being EPIC.